Welcome back to another video from Not Only Trout. Today we're going to be tying up the 2-3 Chernobyl Ant. It's a Chernobyl Ant variation that I found great success with. It's called the 2-3 Chernobyl Ant because it uses two different pieces of foam, and you can select different colors however you see fit. One is a 2mm piece and the other is a 3mm thick piece of foam. So it gives you a good high ride. It keeps that fly from sinking in the water after a couple of fish. All around a great floater. In the vise, we have a Daiichi 1510 hook in size 6. Even though it's a size 6 hook, with it being a 3x short, it's not a very long hook. The total fly length ends up being right about 1 inch, which I found to be a great size for most of the trout that I'm chasing in alpine locations and places where you just want to have something that you're sure is going to fit in the fish's mouth. You can always tie these in bigger or smaller sizes, but this is the size that tends to be my go-to. We're using some Semperfli Classic wax thread in size 6/0, and we're using some Semperfli Kapok dubbing. We're doing a thicker noodle today to give the fly a little bit of volume underneath and to give the foam a little bit of something to ride on that we're tying. So we're going to wrap this all the way back to the back corner of the hook. And you may have to do a couple applications of dubbing because of the thickness that you're doing with the noodle. And just make it so that it fits how you want it to fit. And then wrap right up to about the hook point right here. So for our foam bodies, we're using some tan 2mm foam and some black 3mm foam, and the bodies have been pre-cut. They're cut using the beaver tail style foam body cutter from River Roads Creations. They have some great products. You should give them a check out. So what I do is I line the front edge of the foam up with the hook eye, and then I wrap my thread in, give it 2 or 3 wraps and tighten it in a little bit, and then grab the second piece of foam, which is going to be black in this case. And then line this one up on top as well, the same way. You'll notice that there's 2 indentations for this body. You have one right here and one right, one right here and one right here. And those are going to be tie-in points for where you want your thread wraps to be. So get your foam synced in nice and tight. And then we're going to go ahead and grab some barred rubber legs. I'm using some Rainey's round rubber legs. They're tan barred, tan and black. And to get the length that I use, I take the full leg, cut it in half, and then I cut that in half and that in half. And there may be one more in half. I got lost in my thought process, but the total length of the legs, as you can see, ends up being just a smidge longer than the total length of the hook and the fly. Get those set on top and just do 2 gentle wraps so you can move the legs around. And you'll see they kind of get stuck up in an upright V position. Just slide those over to where you want. Rotate the hook in the vise if you have a rotary vise. Do the same on the far side. And then you'll grab a little bit more of the tan Kapok dubbing. And with that, we're just going to put a thin noodle on there to help lock things down in place and to cover up our thread wraps. Just get a small pinch more for when I'm advancing my thread. Then advance your thread on the dubbed body already, and you'll go up to where that second notch is, the front notch, and do 2 loose wraps, and then tighten it down. And then go over the top, 2 loose wraps, tighten down, and grab another section of rubber legs. And set these on top, and do the exact same process of having them be right in the middle. And then do 2 loose wraps, tighten down a little bit, and slide the legs onto each side. At this point, you'll grab some poly yarn for your wing. I like using pink. It's very visible and it's kind of fun. And what you'll do is you'll measure out a section that is 1 hook length or 1 fly length, and trim it off so that you're not wasting excess material on this. And what I like to do is I measure my yarn from the tail indentation to the front indentation of the foam and set it so that it just covers that length on the hook. Do 2 wraps, tighten that into place. And then what I do is I just pinch and fold back my poly yarn and do 2 more wraps, lock it into place. Grab some scissors and come in on a 45 or so degree angle from the front to the back. And just trim that off. Gives you a nice clean looking tie-in. And then we'll grab just a small pinch more of the Kapok dub, cover up our thread wraps and whip finish, and we'll have a completed fly. Advance underneath. And for the whip finish, I like doing 2, 3, or 4 turn whip finishes. Just get a nice clean whip in there. Trim out some thread. And there you have it. Completed fly. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you haven't had a moment to subscribe, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up and a like. It really does help us out a lot. I hope that you can get some of these flies tied, or if you want to buy some, check the link in the description for the materials and or the link straight to buy the fly. And let me know how this fly goes for you. Thanks. Have a great day. Tight lines and wet nets, my friends.